So chapter 1, we sort of set the playing field for accounting. We talked about the players, the rule makers, the referees, complications. In accounting terms, it's the financial reporting environment and the codification of GAAP and the politics involved. So chapter 2, we got into the conceptual framework in more detail, which is really provides us with the ground rules of the game. And now in chapter 3, we actually get to play the game. Chapter 3, we're going to be, is really a review of all of AC 101 and 102 wrapped up in one chapter that's much more complicated than anything you ran into there. So we're going to go through the process used to prepare the financial statement, starting with the basic, analyze the journal entry and make the journal entry. So we use the we have to identify the transactions and analyze them, record them, summarize, and report. So that's going to give us the framework to do the detail on the financial statements that we do in the rest of the course. Okay, so good news and the bad news. The good news is that most accounting systems are computerized. So you're going to be using Ch3, QuickBooks, some computer system that all you have to do is make the journal entry, and if you've done it right, it will provide you with all the reports you need. The bad news is, for this chapter, you're going to be doing it all out by hand or on Excel. But basically, you're going to have to be manually going through the process. Why do we do that? It's because the process that we go through in chapter 3 is the foundation. It's what's inside all of those wonderful programs that do it for you. And you have to know how it works in order to not have it be a situation of garbage in, garbage out. Okay, so at the beginning of chapter 3, they talk a lot about cybercrime, and part of what you're going to have to be doing as accountants is having the knowledge of how to prevent that or minimize the opportunities for that to happen. So cybercrime is getting to be among one of the larger economic crimes that's being committed lately. So I think they go through in the introduction of problems that various companies have had as a result of this, and I'll let you read over that. But a lot of the one of the newer functions of the CPA is going to be are the systems secure? Sort of an attest function, cyber attest. Are the systems secure? Are the protocols effective? Okay, so the book takes you through that. I mean, in accounting systems may seem a little boring, mundane, but there's a lot of new and interesting reasons. Well, there's a lot of new and interesting uses of accounting data that gives us all the more incentive to have the accounting data be accurate, faithful representation, and all the things we learned in chapter 2. So we get the suspicious activity laws that require accountants to report questionable transactions to the Treasury Department, money laundering, bribes, wire transfer to terrorists. You have to have the accounting systems in order to find these things. There was a pharmaceutical network that was selling controlled drugs, basically illegal drugs, without prescriptions on websites with headquarters in South America, web servers in the Middle East. And so they got 18 indictments after uncovering wire transfers here, and about 9 million was recovered. So suspicious activity laws, that's something you have to be aware of. Countering terrorism, there's Operation Safe Commerce, which they're standardizing the computerized documentation of all the bills of lading, on a lot of container ships to try and identify pallets and containers from countries of interest. Okay, we're talking about, shipping arms and other weapons. So you're watching the flow of funds through the banking system and the accounting systems to try and track these down. The Sarbanes-Oxley and Patriot Acts have many new requirements on accountants and on executives for having proper accounting records well maintained and secured. So the CEOs now have to personally vouch for the accuracy of the accounting records, and the you know, the section 404 of Sarbanes-Oxley, you have to have the internal controls and have the auditors evaluate them. Okay, Patriot Act, you're trying to intercept and, you know, intercept anything related to terrorism. And so this is where they're monitoring, banks have to monitor their accounts in foreign institutions for possible fraudulent use. And so there's a lot of penalties if they don't comply. So there's a lot of real good incentives to understand exactly how this rather boring accounting debits and credits work. Okay.